We all love the sound of money, and a $1,500 sign-on bonus sounds even better. That's right, Bellisio Foods of Jackson is offering a $1,500 sign-on bonus to new employees. Receive an extra $100 your first 6 weeks, then $400 after day 90, and $500 after day 180. Don't wait. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers today. That's BellisioFoods.com/careers. Come work for a company who truly values their employees. Come work for Bellisio Foods.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. And today is such a wonderful day because we are going to spend an hour celebrating Pete Wilson, and you're going to take it.
Okay. You didn't have anything else planned at all, did you? There's nothing else to do.
Pete, there is nobody else that I would rather have here and celebrate today than you.
Okay. All right. I half believe you.
No, and this is the thing. So 50 years in the business, in the biz as we call it, and there's actually a wonderful article in the Telegram, and you can pick that up today and see all of the fun things that our friend Pete Wilson has done over the years. And so the good thing is, so Pete said that he feels like he died and we're, having some kind of, memorial or something, but that's not the case at all. We're just celebrating 50 years and you've got 50 more years or so to go. Right, Dan?
One of Pete's favorite lines is, well, if you die, don't worry, I'll send the family a ham. And so we're not doing that. You're not getting a ham today. You're not getting a ham.
So Pam is here. She is waiting in the wings, and she is, of course, the other half of Pete Wilson, and she is very supportive and very proud of you as well.
Well, I'll have to say, for most of my career, Pam has been not only by my side at home, but by my side at work. She's
That's
been
right.
a very important part of whatever success I have had, because she is definitely the woman behind the man. She doesn't like attention. That's why she's not going to be on television now. That's why she wasn't on the radio a few minutes ago. But through many of the years at the different positions that I've had, for the different bosses that I've had, through the different companies I've worked for, she has been an integral part of my team. She keeps me straight. And even though she retired on me a couple of years ago, she still works for free to kind of save me.
She keeps you in line, doesn't she?
She keeps me in line, and she saves me with her proofreading and editing. Still
to this day.
Still very good at that. And she's the person who has put up with my lifestyle, which is kind of work
all over the place.
Which is kind of work centric. We'll just say that.
To say that your lifestyle is work centric is a understatement. So Dan, our good friend Dan Morrow is here, and we probably have a few more guests stopping by the studio that you may or may not know about. So just deal with it.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be a full day for him.
Okay.
And he's worried about getting work in already.
I know.
Not today, Pete.
So just deal with it, Pete.
Be front and center once in your life, please.
Thank you.
Yes.
So James and I were talking before the show started, before you guys walked in, and I said, I know this day is going to be hard for Pete, but you're just going to have to take it because we all love you so much, and you have done such an amazing job over the years. But you have literally spent 50 years of your life giving everybody else the accolades and credit in which you felt that they deserve. And so today is one little tiny snippet of our lives that we can give that right back to you, and you deserve it. And so thank you so much.
All right. Well, that is so kind. Everybody, just what has happened. It was a surprise. Everybody pulled it off.
We kept our mouths shut for so long.
The coverage in the newspaper that started with my good friend Randy Heath, who
yes.
goes back as long as I do. So he knew the timing and all.
That's right.
And he knew the background and all, and he started the ball rolling. And Courtney Leach, our general manager, she went along with it, and so it all happened. And I am beyond touched, incredibly humbled by all the attention, because I really do consider myself, I'm just like James over there behind the scenes. I want to be a behind the scenes guy. I want to be behind the camera. I don't want to be the story. I want to write the story.
Understood.
So this is honestly not easy for me. I like the appreciation, but it's not what I crave.
Listen, one day out of 50 is 50 years. You're just going to have to take it. Right, Dan?
Absolutely. And it is right. He would rather be behind the scenes. He's been behind the scenes all these 50 years and before that. And it is time for him to be on the front page.
That's exactly.
He needs to be on the front page.
There it is.
You are front page right now.
You are front and
today,
center.
And when you get your paper today, folks, it's a front page picture of Pete on there. And then I just got to see about page 4. It's a full page. There's some historical pictures there.
A lot of
great
fun.
people within the community have made comments in it. Randy Heath did a tremendous job on the article. Really, it was behind the scenes. And you're right. And then Courtney jumped on this. Mm-hmm. And she's the one making your day miserable, Pete.
I know. It's all Courtney. We'll blame Courtney.
Randy might have just had the article in there. Now Courtney's going to make it a full day for you.
Now it's just a full day of fun.
Yeah.
So, and we want to thank Pam for also digging out all the pictures. She was an accomplice as well. So.
And she did the proofreading.
That
was important.
There you go. So Dan, while you're here, so this is the cool thing about Dan and Pete is you guys have known each other for a very long time, not only as a work work relationship, but as friends. So tell us a little bit about that. What you two have gotten into together. And Pam was telling me a story off the air that maybe we can tell or not tell.
Well, there's a lot of off-the-air stories.
There's probably a lot of off-the-air stories.
Off color, maybe.
Yes, just a touch.
Although I will say that when I walked in this morning, I don't know why I'm always associated with this, but Pete said, "Did you bring the booze?" Why does everyone think Jen's the one to bring the booze? Anyway, go ahead.
Yes. Well, I mean, Pete and I go back a long way. I think of us being first acquainted about the 4th grade year on there, and just as our years through school, I guess one of the things we didn't talk about on the radio earlier, Pete, was probably what connected us an awful lot was a neighborhood rivalry type situation.
What?
We had our neighborhood, which you grew up in.
Yes.
With basically a lot of Morrows and Conroys and a group of people there.
And then the one girl.
There were some Davises and all that crew. But we had a neighborhood softball group, not really a softball group. All of a sudden, Pete had a group over near Parkview School. And there were people that lived over there. One was Dr. Greg Jewell and some very famous people, Randy Heath. All these people, they played some softball over there. Well, we got into it there. We said, well, we'll set up a softball team. So we became the Turner Tramps. Tommy Turner was our figurehead, and we were the Turner Tramps. Pete was the Parkview Parakeets.
I feel like this is like the Sandlot. The Parakeet. You couldn't come up with something besides a parakeet.
Gosh. But the Parakeets and the Tramps did battle. Pete and I kind of headed all this up most times. Most every Sunday, either the back lot of Parkview schools where we played on the hillside. We manufactured our own field, but we had these games, and Pete, I mean, it got to be kind of big in the area there, and quite a rivalry and everything. But Pete, we always played the Star Spangled Banner before we played. I mean,
you didn't.
We were nerds. You guys just had to understand. We were nerds growing up, and it was okay. We're proud of it. But we played the Star Spangled Banner. But then the most emotional moment was when Pete sang the Parakeet fight song. This is the Parakeet fight song that he had written himself, and every time. And then here, the Tramps over there, you're lined up for the Star Spangled Banner, and you show some honor there. But then there was some tomfoolery going on while he sang the fight song, but he never wavered during the whole song. And really would be one of the great things in Main Street media history if you could get the Parakeet fight song sang.
Do you remember it?
Oh, we all remember it.
There was the fight song, and then there was the Parakeet alma mater. That was, much more solid.
The alma mater was a tearjerker, and the fight song was more of a rah-rah. So, and this is the kind of stuff Pete did growing up, and we were
were destined.
We were talking a little earlier about Pete getting his job with the newspaper, and one of the behind the scenes was my dad, my late father, who was a great man. watched all of us growing up, and he knew he had a bunch of nerds, and he's number one nerd from the Parkview area there at our house a lot. And I remember him saying, he said to Ed Clark and to Ed Chapman, who lived 3 houses up from us,
All the Eds.
Ed, he's a bit of an odd duck, but you better hire him. He's got some talent. And,
He was right on the first count for sure.
but if you can get him to do the fight song with the alma mater,
Hey,
it
we
would be
got him to sing
unbelievable.
Oklahoma here.
Oh, well, and he's great at that, but this might be.
Only after you brought one of your craft beers, I believe.
That's true. I should have brought the
Loosen me up.
booze. Why did I not?
Right.
Are you going to sing for us?
I don't know that I can remember it, but
I don't believe you for 5 seconds.
Well, maybe a bar or two.
Okay, go
All
for
right.
it.
Here we are all together, all us parakeets. Here we stand in honor shining for the parakeets. Let's join hands now all together for the parakeets.
Oh, that
Was
that
fantastic.
still gets sang in my basement once in a while, along with Oklahoma.
Love it. And Oklahoma. Well, that is very good. Well, we have literally a show chock full of all kind of things to celebrate Pete Wilson and his life. And Dan is going to stick around, right?
Oh, I'll stick around, but we got somebody that needs to get
But
my
we
seat.
do have somebody that is special here. So, Dan, you want to trade
Yes,
seats with
I
him?
sure do.
Come on over, Mr. Mayor. And our mayor, Randy Evans, is here.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning, and we're so
Morning,
happy
Randy.
to have you here.
Good morning, Pete.
Pete is having a little issue, having a hard time with being celebrated this morning, but we're doing it anyway.
Well, he's still smiling, so he's all right.
Yes, he has it, and he sang.
Well, I tell you what, I feel really special that the mayor's here because I know how much he does and how hard he works. And for him to give a few minutes to come here, I guess I am kind of important.
You're very important.
I'm just glad I got here to hear that song.
I mean, you can now.
Well, let me tell you what, you're going to hear it again, brother.
That was the first time for me, and I guess it'll probably be another 50 years before I hear it again.
If I'm here in 50 years, you'll hear it again.
That's right.
It was worth the trip up.
The 100-year anniversary.
It was worth the trip up.
No, that is awesome. And I don't know how I've never heard that story about the parakeets and the what? The tramps.
Tramps.
And the tramps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a blood battle there.
Well, very good. So, Mr. Mayor, you came in because you and I were talking this morning, and you said that you had something special that you wanted to do today.
Yes, I do. While you're honoring Pete today, I was going to bring this in this afternoon, actually. But why not do it live on the air?
Correct, 100%.
Right after Pete sings. I mean, that was a great lead-in.
I think he stole your thunder, Mr. Mayor.
He did. So I'll do my little piece and get out of here. But yeah, I brought this proclamation as mayor of the city of Jackson. I am proclaiming today, June 1st, as Pete Wilson Day in the city of Jackson. So I have this presentation here. I want to read part of it.
Love that.
In fact, I want to read all of it.
Please.
Because Pete deserves it.
He does.
So whereas Pete Wilson has dedicated his life to journalism on June 1st, 1972, for the community of Jackson, Ohio. And whereas Pete Wilson began his love for writing while attending Jackson City Schools and continuing his education in journalism at the Ohio University's Scripps Schools of Journalism. Whereas Pete Wilson has spent his days and countless hours to providing truthful, respectable, and honest reporting to the citizens of Jackson, Ohio. Whereas Pete Wilson and his wife, Pam, have tirelessly dedicated their lives together toward providing this community with up-to-the-date and accurate information in all areas of journalism. Whereas Pete Wilson has been dubbed writer extraordinaire and one of the finest editors in the business by his friends and peers. Whereas Pete Wilson is always sincere in his work and maintains the highest quality of journalism. It is therefore proclaimed today, June 1st, 2022, marking the 50th anniversary of his dedication to journalism. It is Pete Wilson Day in the city of Jackson. Pete, congratulations.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much, Randy. That's fantastic.
And I will present you with this.
I'm so humbled and appreciative of what you have done. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Your words and your appearance and your time mean a lot to me. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
get out here
I
and
know
let
you have other
Dan the
things.
man-
Places he has to go run the city, but maybe we'll see you a little later.
yes, maybe we'll see you a little later.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Pete.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Randy. Very good. Well, we have someone else that just stopped by. 2 minutes. Come on over.
Hey, Peter,
We happen to
how you
have that.
doing?
Oh my goodness.
Hey, there
It's
you go.
Mark
Happy
Wood.
birthday. Oh, happy retirement. Or happy whatever it is. 50 years. Yeah. The reason I wanted to come is because Pete is a great friend of mine, and he is the reason I got started at the Jackson newspaper.
No way.
Yes, here's how it happened. So Pete was going to go into student teaching, all right? They needed somebody to fill in for his job. So I just graduated from Jackson High School, and they went down to see Ed Clark, and he hired me to take Pete's place while he went to go student teaching. And so I ended up working there for several years and really enjoyed my time. But I would have never gotten that job if Pete hadn't went to college.
Right.
Well,
And so-
thank you, Pete.
Is that how that worked out?
That's how that worked out. Right. So I appreciate you filling in for me, Marco. You did a great job. Your career went another way, but you while you were in journalism, you did a great job doing that.
Well, thank you very much, and congratulations. And I'm on my way to 8 shows, so
Okay.
See you
8
later.
shows, just 8 shows today. Thank you, Mark, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Mark.
It's always his birthday. Bye, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Very
Wow,
good.
look at this.
I know.
Well,
Gold and everything.
Well, this is wonderful. I wanted one that looked like a giraffe, actually, but that's okay. This is good. Wow.
I like it. Well, come back over, Dan, because we have, while we have a little lull in between people, I have a feeling stopping by.
James is not going to let you put that in front of you. That
No,
would be
he's
typical
not.
Pete
Okay.
Wilson.
That would
Get
be, yeah, to
behind the
cover
balloons,
himself up.
yes.
Not going to happen.
No.
So we actually want to thank Mrs. Pete, Pam, or maybe you're Mr. Pam. I don't know which.
Whichever.
Whichever.
Yeah, we're interchangeable.
But Mrs. Pete, Pam, came up and dug out some really fun photos. So we thought maybe we could go through a couple of those while we're here. And so, Pete, do you want to kind of just explain? I mean, listen, if you want to talk about the newspaper royalty, there they are sitting there.
Right. Well, this is when our company, current ownership, purchased the Telegram in 2005. This was our original team with the new ownership. Our first office was over on Veterans Drive, where Genesis Oxygen is now. And of course, we were blessed. I was blessed with a great team, experience, a lot of experience, a lot of talent there. There in the front row is the inimitable Barbara Summers, of
Oh,
course,
man.
who just such a great person. I think that she's a good Main Street TV fan too.
She is, and we love her so much.
Right, and then of course on my left is of course my beautiful and talented wife Pam, who I said, I mean, you talk about somebody. I had this phrase for her, and she liked it, and I'm gonna tell on her. Secret weapon. That's what I called her, because nobody knew how much she did to help me. And help the paper be as good as it was, however good it was. And there in the back row, of course, some very familiar faces, still in the business. On the left is Red Thompson Jr.
Yes.
And then there in the middle is Mr. Telegram himself. He deserves that title. That is a former owner of the Telegram, and he worked with me at the Telegram as associate editor, then as the managing editor for a while before he retired. That's Steve Keller. And Steve is still out there kicking out there on Raysville Road. His wife, Nina, is the executive director of the AAA 7 office. So even though he's retired, he's still around. And there on the right in the back standing is our current sports editor, Todd Compston.
That's right.
So that was most of our editorial team back then. So some of us, are still hanging around. And when we started, we didn't have any paid circulation, and so we built that up over time in the next 4 or 5 years, and that's why we're still here today. We got off to a good start, and so I'm very much indebted to these folks there in that picture.
That's right. Very, very good. And then the next picture, well, that's the Dans. Dan and Pete.
In the press box at Alumni Stadium. And Alumni Stadium is a funny thing. They built that in 2004, but every year they add some steps up to the press box.
The older you get, the more steps they
add.
Is that what it is?
That's what it seems. And we have put in, we have been around for a while, and you think we might have a little leverage. Our request for an elevator has never, ever been granted. So
maybe they could just get you like a dumbwaiter where, someone pulls the rope and pulls you guys up. So, Dan, let's talk for a minute about how you guys got started doing these games.
I'm just a pup in that group. These two guys got started 40 years ago when your daddy was foolish enough to okay these two to start broadcasting football games for his radio station. And for 3 years in a row, they were doing that while I was being an assistant football coach. Well, then when I left education to go to the family business, I jumped on board. So I've only got 37 years. They have 40 years of broadcasting the high school sports here locally, football, basketball, baseball, different things, wrestling. We talked about that once earlier.
Yeah, I am told that I'm supposed to ask you the wrestling story because somehow I missed it this morning.
Well, that was a one-time thing. That was one.
Let's talk about it. You got to fill me in.
We've done thousands of other bowl games that actually the outcome was not determined before the event.
So you guys actually covered a wrestling match?
There was an era when we would do the football games, but they also, Jim Davis was with us at the radio station, and he would do them on the camera, tape them, and then they would replay them on Monday night on the local cable station.
Where were these wrestling matches?
Oh, this was the normal football games.
Oh, this was the
and
football
basketball
games.
and doing that.
Okay.
Well, then all of a sudden, out of the blue, and I used his name there, Preston Mustard helped organize a charity fundraising wrestling match that was going to be held at what was then the high school main gymnasium, which is now the middle school gym. Yes. And it was a pretty big to-do, and Preston had some wrestling connections.
Yes.
So he brought in, and if you're old wrestling fans, you will remember the names, Bull Curry Jr. and The Sheik, who is one of the most infamous bad guys in the history of wrestling. Bull Curry was the good guy. The Sheik was the bad guy. And they had 4 or 5 matches with some local flavor involved. People say we had local people refereed the matches. So it was a fun night.
Can you imagine?
There's the Sheik.
Can you imagine Preston
That's
Mustard
him.
as the American Ninja?
Yes.
Well, he can
sort of.
I don't know whether he still can do that, but he did that night.
Yeah, he did that night, and there were just some amazing. But there was a picture of the James is too good.
I know.
I mean,
don't say something because it will be up on there.
Oh, it's amazing.
5 seconds.
So the last match of the night is naturally your main event, and it's been a fairly fun night. A good crowd on hand. Good wrestling, funny, laughing. We're doing a broadcast, trying to be like wrestling announcers, making like there is somewhat realism involved in this.
Hey,
and all
wait
of a sudden,
a minute, it's real.
It is real.
I know. We
wouldn't have been there.
It really hurts.
Yeah. Oh, it did. And it did in a second as this story goes on. Well, then the showstopper was the Sheik and Flying Fred Curry. And they introduce them, and they come out. Never once made it into the ring. Before they get to the ring, they're fighting and hitting each other and hitting with chairs, and people are kind of jumping back and all this kind of stuff. And it's just chaos. And they finally work their way around in front where we had a table set up where we're doing the broadcast. Jim Davis has the camera here, and we got the equipment in front of us, and we got our headsets on and everything. And Sheik takes Flying Fred Curry's head and bashes it right in front of us on the table. And somehow he goes down, he comes down. He didn't say this on the radio. He there's the blood pack thing. He comes up and he's all bloody.
Oh.
And he's all bloody. And out of the blue, I just said, take it to the ring, Sheik. And he looks at us and gives this big war cry and grabs the table and throws it up in the air.
No.
Yeah, your father's $500 camera was there. So
It's in the air. It's
that was
all
a
in the
concern.
air. And so I remember jumping. I think Jim Davis just jumped out of the way. I grabbed the camera. Pete grabbed the major piece of equipment. The table falls over. Danny falls down. The table falls on his arm. He's mad. He hit hurt.
I'll bet.
So he gets mad, and we're just in chaos, still trying to carry on standing and doing the broadcast. And they did know then they took it away from us, the wrestlers on there. So Danny's so mad, he goes back. He just says, "I've had enough of this stuff." And he goes out of the screen. So we start saying that Dan Dobbins looked like a broken arm. He's been rushed to the hospital and all this kind of stuff. Playing it up.
We weren't sure he might have been.
Yeah.
Maybe it
we
was.
play it up. Finally, the match is over. The whole thing's over. They replay this on Monday night. So the people that weren't there, I'm sure they'd heard a little about it. But I get 2 phone calls that night from people who knew us wanting to know how Danny's doing.
Oh,
Is he still in the hospital and all this kind of stuff. So we had the best time. That was our one time doing wrestling. That was
One and done.
quite an event. But all the football games, all these years, all the basketball games, and for me, just the last couple of years, Pete's been doing baseball for a number of years now. But I've been able to, because I've got more free time now, to help him with baseball games. But I would hate to guess the number of total games we've broadcast. But
A few.
what a blessing to
More
get
than.
to do this for 40 plus years and hopefully a few more. But I get to do it with really one of my very, very, very best friends and my brother-in-law, who's also one of my very, very best friends.
Exactly.
How lucky are we? Danny's the golden throat. Pete's the best stat man this side of the Mississippi.
And you'll not find a better color man than
Well,
Dan Morrow
but
over here.
we
That
have-
is a fact, Jack.
We have the best time, and we love it. We love Jackson. We love Jackson Athletics. There's a reason his picture is hanging in the school mezzanine as part of the Hall of Fame. That's just one little part of it, but what a deserved member and what a career he's had. And let's just hope it's plenty years to go, because he's such a valuable member of this community. But our little part there, that's part of our heritage, is that broadcasting team.
Yes.
But how special it's been. 2007, we were honored as the Apple Festival Grand Marshals. And
Yes.
I have a picture in my basement of the 3 of us that hung up in front of Andrea's
Love that.
store. And those are special memories. We've been very, very blessed to enjoy all these moments that we all do together. And boy, I'm going to get out of the road because we got dignitaries coming in right and left. This must be
You're really in for it, Pete.
Jennifer,
now.
is this a special day or something?
I think this is some kind of special day.
I think it is. I'm going to get out of the road because there's a lot of people that you need to talk to here.
Well, come on over, guys. See, 2 of you have to bring your own chairs. BYOC around here. Yeah, come on over this way, Pete, if you would.
Okay.
Hopefully Pam doesn't get mad at us. She said it's okay. It's just me. Well, welcome. So the Jackson County Commissioners have arrived in the building. Not quite as important as Elvis, but quite close, I will say.
We'll take it.
Yes.
There's 3 of them. They're all here. How about
They
that?
are all here. And Donnie, can you? Yeah, we can only see 2 of you. Here, I'll scoot around.
I can't believe there's a frame that can't get me in.
We'll squash together here. And first off, I want to say that Josh is watching, and Josh says congratulations.
Oh, Josh is a good guy.
He is a good dude. And so he called in and said to tell you congratulations, Pete.
Well, thank you, Josh, out
Yes.
there in TV land.
That's right. So the Jackson County Commissioners have arrived on the scene. So I think they have something to say to you.
We did. We just adjourned our meeting uptown. As you know, we meet on the Wednesday following a holiday. So we didn't meet yesterday. We met this morning for a brief meeting. And in that meeting, we took some very important official action.
Okay.
And we're going to read that to you now.
All right.
We have a proclamation that is 133-22, 50 years and counting. Whereas on this date, 50 years ago, on June the 1st, 1972, and you'll have to correct us if this information is wrong, but we got it from a pretty reliable source.
Okay. All right.
Pete Wilson, just completing his junior year in high school and his first mission as a journalist, which was covering the Eddie Jones Youth Baseball League. And whereas Pete's first job was a part-time sports editor as a high school senior, a portion of that job he has maintained to this day and has sacrificed by sustaining a 7-day, 60-hour work week to achieve perfection. And whereas Pete has a deep appreciation of history and studied education as well as journalism at The Ohio University, and his never-ending drive to do it right every single edition has allowed him to quietly become one of Jackson County's most legendary journalistic figures. Whereas Pete is a true professional, always fair, factual, and thorough, respected throughout, and with a commitment to our community that is unmatched. And therefore be it resolved that the Board of Jackson County Commissioners take enormous pride in honoring Mr. Wilson for his legendary career and congratulate him on this major milestone in the field of journalism. Congratulations, Mr.
Well,
Wilson.
thank you very much. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Donnie. I tell you what, to make this part of the official business from these three guys who are kind of like Randy Evans, who was earlier. They're very important men. They do a lot of important business.
They do.
Things going very well on the county level right now. A lot of good things happening, and for them to take the time to do this resolution and come here, I truly thank you.
It's our honor. It's our privilege. We appreciate you, Pete. You've always done a great job covering the news fair, and we know that when an article comes out and it's got your name to it, that it's factual and that you've done your due diligence. So we appreciate that, being in the public sector, of representing our constituency and trying to do the best we can. You always try to be fair and balanced, and we appreciate that.
Okay, well, I'll always try to do that. And now after these things, I'm going to have to try harder than ever to deserve this attention.
I got one story about Pete.
Yes, I mean we got to go for it. We have
Okay,
to,
Paul.
Well, no.
Paul's got the gray hair to prove it, but he goes back almost as far as I do. I remember when he was the catcher for his dad on a great baseball team, the 1976 champion baseball team, and so that's one of the memories I have of Paul, and it's been ever upward since then, sir.
Ida Shields, Marty Cooper, Jeff Conroy. Yes, we were league champions
Right.
back then. But that 1976, matter of fact. But my story I wanted to tell you is when you was covering Little League, I was playing Little League, and
That tells you something about how old I am.
that's right. And so we were. I was having a great season. I was playing on a team called Stifler's, the old clothing
oh
store.
yeah.
Stifler's, the old clothing store. And I was batting 1,000. And not too many people ever can say that they batted 1,000.
I don't think you can do better than that.
That's a perfect number. So I'm batting 1,000, and Pete puts it in the newspaper.
Oh no.
And
All downhill after that, right?
it was
Pete.
so. Here I am playing Little League, and I see my name in the paper. And I can't remember if my picture was in the paper or not, but that was the fact of it, that it was all downhill from there. So,
Right, it has to be because
So-
You
the first-
jinxed
the
that
first-
poor little boy.
the first
So-
time you're out, the 1,000 is down the drain. You know that.
Yeah, but no, I had a great season. Had a great baseball career at Jackson High School. Got to play at University of Rio Grande. And, baseball has been very near and dear to us, the Haller family. And we just thank you for your coverage of baseball now and Dan and everything you've done through all of my kids that's played. And we got some great pictures of you, Pete, with with Caleb, my son, at his graduation, talking to him. And you've been special to a lot of athletes and students and people in the community throughout Jackson.
Well, I tell you what, it's great to be on the sidelines, and on top of that, have a seat on the front row. And that's what my job has allowed me to do. And, there's always bad news that's going to happen, but it's the good news that makes it all worthwhile.
Can see that.
We love you.
Thank you very much.
Well, you guys, thank you for spending your morning with us. And I think they adjourned a little early to come here and hang with us. So we
Okay.
feel important.
Just for a minute. We
Yeah,
did.
that's good.
Well,
That's
I
good.
do want to say one more thing, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. If you pull that mic up to you a
Well, I
little
know
bit.
we're honoring you today, Pete, and you've done a tremendous job, but I have to give credit where credit is due.
Mhm.
And there's a lady sitting over there on the side.
That's right.
Who's always on the side, and she's right there with you, supporting you. And that's Pam.
That's right.
And,
well, you know that firsthand because of Lindsay, right?
That's right.
You don't achieve anything. You don't do any good without a lot of supportive people in your life.
Yep.
You know?
And I know you're grateful for Pam, but our community is too, because she's always right there beside you, supporting the things you do, and the telegram, and multiple things.
Well,
And we
I think
appreciate it.
everybody at this table feels that way, and I bet you feel that way about Jamie too, right?
Of course.
Right. So we're lucky people, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
You gotta have great support.
You do.
All right.
Yep. And as Pete said, just further that, Pam has been somewhat behind the scenes, of course, but also understood how much and given him up when they could be out doing things, and allowed him to further his career and to work really, really hard. And that has benefited all of us as well.
Yep. And
So
we're grateful
she
for
has
that.
she's sacrificed some too, huh?
Absolutely, I can
Yep.
guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So thank you, Pam. You're
Well,
awesome.
congratulations again.
Thank
we wish
you,
you
John.
well.
Thank you guys.
Thank
for
you
the
guys so
resolution
much.
and for coming up here to be on television.
Oh, our privilege.
It was in color too,
Yeah, that's great.
That's right.
I hope things change.
We didn't start out that way, did we, guys? All right. And of course, our Jackson County Commissioners here in the studio, Donnie Willis, John Hensler, and Paul Haller. And we want to thank them for stopping by. So, geez, Pete, that's 2 proclamations in one day.
my.
What the heck? We got to get, sorry. James is getting us all sorted out again because we were,
Once again, it's production values, very important.
we got discombobulated, didn't we?
That means talking to the microphone. All right, but no, that was very nice of the county commissioners to do, and I'm just blown away by it all. I truly am.
Well, Pete, you
truly am.
deserve it.
And I
for
do
sure.
think, I know there is an open house going to take place around noon, if I'm not mistaken, Jennifer, and is the plan. So if you're watching this today,
That's right.
run by and congratulate Pete.
That's true. And
Take an opportunity, because let's be honest, we're all thankful that we have him. We won't realize what we got till we miss him. And
Sure.
That's going to let you know
But he's
how
not going
dedicated
anywhere.
he is. He's not going anywhere for a long time. My gosh, they talk about old. We're not old. We're just getting warmed up, aren't
just
we,
getting
Pete?
started.
Right.
I think. I hope.
Well,
Plan.
I'm kind of sometimes fond of saying I'm blessed that I've been given good health, and you never know. You're not guaranteed anything on that, but my brain's still working. That's an important thing too.
That's very important.
So when I'll know when the time is right not to do it anymore, because whoever does it needs to be fully committed to it and be able to do it.
Speaking
Well-
of his brain still working.
Yes.
Okay, as part of this broadcast team that has done all these games, if you'll notice in that one picture, it's always Danny, I'm in the middle, and then Pete's to my right. That's how we do it. We don't change. When you're old guys, you don't deviate too much. When Danny's talking, and Danny and I dominate the talk too much in the football and basketball games. And I get texts from my brother Bob, who's an attorney in Columbus.
Yes.
And he says, we want more Wilson constantly during the broadcast.
We want more Wilson.
We want more Wilson. But as it turns out, the best stat man is there. But what I usually do as a color man, then I turn over to Pete, and I'm going to say, well, Pete, how many yards does so-and-so have at this point in the game? I turn over, and here's Pete, and we call him the fog man sometimes. His brain is always working on something. And he will be with his yellow tablet, which has anybody ever seen what he keeps his stats on?
Mm-hmm.
Chicken scratches that are on it that
Yeah.
nobody can decipher.
If anyone
Sometimes not
ever
even me.
wants, do not try to read anything that Pete Wilson writes, because it is not happening, by the way.
We got James high tech and everything here that can do a little bit of everything. Pete's still doing these on the long yellow tablets.
yes.
That's what he does most of his work on. But I'll turn over and Pete will be writing in the air with his brain out thinking something at that moment. And that's when we say, well, Earth to Wilson, come back here. And then all of a sudden he'll pull down the tablet, he'll read something that is unreadable, and he'll say 67 yards on 15 carries, and know exactly what you need. But it takes a minute sometimes. The brain is always working.
Well, I can tell you from true experience that Pete Wilson has his own writing, shall we say, language. It's not shorthand. I'm not. Pete, what is it, Pam?
It's his own.
It's his own
Pete
shorthand.
Wilson shorthand.
It literally is. He has developed his own language.
It is a form of shorthand and Sanskrit combination.
Don't ever like.
Hieroglyphics.
It is. If you ever try, don't ever try. Like you need to somehow decipher that before
Caveman
you
walls
leave
were
this.
easier to read.
Yes.
They were much easier.
There
to
were
read
nice
than that.
pictures
Yes,
there.
actually, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, but no, it's fascinating to me how you do that, and then how you can decipher what you wrote, and I think that's
There is a 1 hour window for me to decipher what I have read.
then he forgets it.
Right. Well, no, what was that I put down there? You know? It is hard to read. In elementary school, I was never going to be an honor student because the handwriting was anywhere from D to C minus. Every class.
No,
Every class.
I could believe that,
Right.
but little did they know what you would become.
Right. A bad handwriter as an adult.
Great reporter, bad handwriter. So who is this, Pete?
Oh, okay. Let's see. I believe that is the great Ed Clark there. I don't even remember this picture
It
right
is.
here, but
It's at the Jackson Times.
it's at the Jackson Times,
Yep.
which we had for almost 2 years there.
Summer of
One-
1996.
Right. And Ed, of course, by that time had retired as editor. I replaced him, I think, in 1986. I was fortunate enough to do that. And Ed continued to write his column all the way, I'm thinking probably until about 1998, 1999 or something. And I always like to say this about Ed Clark's column. First read, most read thing in the paper.
I would say
and that
so.
didn't matter who the editor was, whether it was Ed Clark or Pete Wilson or whoever.
Second might be Patty's.
Right?
Yeah,
And-
probably.
Line. Might have been right
Patty's
next
party
to it
line. You
because-
talk about Patty name dropper is who she was.
Yeah.
You know, if you're, you might not even know it, but your name's going to be in the paper if you were somewhere. But that's Ed right there. And I said this on the radio. I'm going to say it now too, because if you're able to, get things like proclamations where people think that you deserve some credit or whatever. Somebody's helped you along the way. A lot of people's helped you along the way. There, Ed Clark was my father figure. He was my mentor. He was my editor when I was the Cub sports reporter or whatever. I went to Ohio University, which they really do have an outstanding journalism
They do.
school. I was there 5 years because I couldn't decide whether I wanted to be in journalism or in education. And hands down, I can say this, and this is nothing against the Scripps School of Journalism. I learned far more from Ed Clark than I did from all those professors over at Ohio University. And it wasn't just about, how to write a story. It was about how to deal with people.
Yeah.
Because, that's a powerful thing in about almost any job you have where you're in the public and so forth. And, I saw how he did it, and that was my foundation.
Hey, Pete, we got a request. The Lillian Jones Museum says it needs one of your yellow legal tablets as a part of Jackson history.
I
That is
love
part
that.
of history.
That is so good.
Should be framed
Agreed.
on the wall, and if anybody can decipher it, I don't know, they get free pass
get
for
the-
the year.
yeah,
or
you get the
something
prize.
They will bring in somebody from Ohio University to do a translation.
Yeah, Nobody translating your stuff, Pete. I'm just saying.
Right. Pam can't even translate.
There you are, and I believe that is Mrs. Pam, and then Jim Price.
Yeah, that is the late Jim Price, who was,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people probably don't remember this being one of Jim's many roles. They remember him more for all he did in finance, because he was a manager of some of the loan companies here in town. Brilliant man. But because he was very good with people and just an outstanding manager, he was our general manager at the Jackson Times. I know a lot of people probably don't even remember the Jackson Times because it wasn't there for very long, but it was a very important bridge to the papers that we have today.
Correct.
And Jim Price, with a limited budget, was able to make it work as long as we were there before we got bought up by a bigger paper. And so he is very much part of the journalism history too, even though a lot of people probably don't even know it. A dear friend on top of that.
Yep.
And I don't know what the occasion was there.
This one cracks me up.
That's really the old days there.
Look at baby Pete.
It could be very well. It could be maybe my Pike County days. There on the left in different frame glasses is, of course, Pete Wilson. In the middle, I hate to say this, is the
72.
late Doug Kimsey. Doug was younger than I was. He was my assistant editor, worked also in sports down in Pike County. Went on to do other journalism, died at a much too young age when he was working in Chillicothe. By then he had become a teacher, but a dear, dear friend for as long as I knew him. Doug Kimsey in the middle, and of course on the right there, I think we can recognize Randy Heath.
Randy Heath, baby Randy as well.
Randy Heath, journalism, of course. Remember, that's how he started off in journalism before he went to the Chamber of Commerce, before he became the 3-term mayor in the city of Jackson. So
Yes.
old days right there, and different color hair.
Yep. That's true. Yeah. Little darker back
And
then.
there is Ed in later days at I think that was probably a Rotary Club event, because we have our Rotary badges on.
Yep.
And Ed has his Paul Harris Fellowship
Yes.
necklace on for outstanding community service. That's how you get the Paul Harris Fellowship.
And you have that as well.
I do.
Yes.
That is my senior year.
Look at, isn't it so cute?
I forget.
1972, Pete.
He said earlier 6'1", 140. We claim the left fielder for the Parakeets was 6'1", 127. All legs. All legs.
All legs.
Yes.
Right. And
The
that was
parakeets. It's so fun. You guys, where did the parakeets come from, Pete, by the way?
well. I wanted to have two things. I wanted to have green and gold for colors because I like that. Maybe it was because I went up to High University or whatever. But we wanted to have something distinctive, and the green and gold went with the Parakeets. And we didn't want to be the Lions or the Tigers or the Bears. We wanted to be something else that got attention.
So you
And
couldn't have been
so
just the Parrots?
I didn't know another sports team called the Parakeets, right? So, we became, and also it was the alliteration. We became the Parkview Parakeets.
I gotcha.
Right, and we had cheerleaders that we called Parakeet supporters.
We had the Trampettes.
And we even had
I'll bet you did.
we even had T-shirts hand painted Parakeet supporters. It by giving the
Was
free.
Cam a parakeet supporter?
That was before I knew her.
She
I
was.
was in junior high school.
This
Oh.
marriage might not have taken place if she knew Pete back
I
then.
didn't
don't
know.
That-
He had a bunch of little groupies running around, didn't you?
The Tramps had several of the girls in the
Trampettes.
neighborhood. But with those free T-shirts, I was able to pick up all the blondes and all the cheerleaders.
Speaking of Pete's groupies, can you
Wow.
explain this one, Pete?
Yeah, Pete.
Oh my!
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh! Where did that come from? That was probably the staff down at the News Watchman, and I'm not exactly sure. That I see my sister there on the left. I see Tammy Fife, who worked for me down at Waverly, and I think there might be another lady in there, maybe Dee Sargent in there as well. Okay.
Oh, Pam
But
says yes.
I'm not exact. I think that was posed to the camera. They would never be that friendly to me otherwise.
That is so cute.
That might have been the day where we take the staff out to lunch day or something, and I got a smooch from each of them. Christmas party. Okay. I'm not sure what that hat is right there. Oh, that was when I was at a Marquet event, I think. It takes a wedding, funeral, or a Marquet event to get a suit and tie on me. So, and a camera around my neck. And let's see, who would that be? Oh, Mildred Bangert.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
The great Mildred Bangert from
Yeah,
Oak Hill.
for sure.
Talk about icon.
Yes.
Community icon, wrote a column for us for many years, and that's probably at a Christmas party too, I'm guessing.
There's a telly.
Right. People who've been around remember the telly cartoons that were in.
We have one over here.
We have one over here that's still on display here. And that's one where the Telly is there on the left in that sketch there. Telly is the personification in the sketch of Glenn Chevalier,
Yes.
the late Glenn Chevalier of Wellston, who did a great job. Not too many little local papers have their own cartoonists, but for a while we had Glenn Chevalier,
Yep.
and he was just glad to do it. Very, very talented, and he drew local people.
Man.
Yes.
Wonderful man. He was fabulous.
I was really appreciative of him when he did ours because he actually gave me a chest.
Okay.
To put your
That's the only
clothes
thing I
in?
know.
To put your clothes in?
No.
He was
Oh.
better. He was better at men than women, actually.
Well, I was just very thankful because that's, yeah.
Glenn
Anyway.
did a great one that I still have a picture of the three of us. And we're in, I think it was when we were 2007, we were grand marshals, but it was in a parade. And his depiction of all three of us was really good. And I've still got it. And felt very honored to know Glenn. He was special.
Yeah,
And he was
he
a big
was.
part of the paper. That was one of those things people went to look for, to see a Tell
Oh,
It Says
for sure. See what he
cartoon.
was up to.
Sure.
So, Pete, oh, there you are.
Hair over the ears.
Right, kind of like in the Bee Gees era there. I'm thinking.
Definitely.
And
So,
I'm not sure exactly what that certificate is. Probably something for the paper that the staff earned there. So, I don't even remember that picture. Pam must have got to the bottom of the scrapbook for that one.
have you always wanted to be a journalist? I know you said you were deciding between, that and teaching and all of that, but
It was really a hard decision between the two because I always thought, I said this on the radio, loved history growing up, American history, the Civil War battles and all like that. And I read that stuff on my own. I didn't have to be made to read it because it was part of the curriculum or
I'm just
anything.
interested.
And so I thought, I know this and I like it. And I always thought it would be cool to be a teacher. And I've always felt from the beginning it was important, that profession was important. To be part of it would be an honor. And so that's what I always thought that I would be. But then, I did the sports writing gig, between my junior and senior years. And then Ohio University had the great journalism school. They wanted me to continue to work at the paper. And so I thought, well, I'll study both of them. And then I
Okay.
can make a choice.
Sure.
And it basically came down to this. I already liked what I was doing when I graduated from college, already was an assistant editor at a very young age, had a chance to be an editor soon after I graduated down in Waverly. And so I already had a good job doing what I wanted to do. Nothing against the teaching. I always thought that I could change if I wanted to, and it just never.
Had options.
It just never happened.
Well, we're glad it never happened, Pete. What's that one?
Let's see.
There's a lot of folks there.
Oh my.
That's the old JPC gang in the dock.
Okay. Yeah, you have to take a close look at some of the figures there, but those are people that many of them were associated with Jackson Papers for many years, because before there was actually more people working for the publishing, what we called the Jackson Publishing Company.
Oh yeah,
which
Jackson
was, the
Publishing.
newspaper was part of it. Then today, because it was part of a publishing company, when we printed the paper
Yes.
as well as wrote it and
remember that.
reported it.
It was in where the
Where-
municipal
where
court
the,
is.
Where the municipal court is, actually, yes.
God, am I aging myself?
Cub Scout groups got to take the tour occasionally, and you go back and see that equipment. And
Yeah,
to think the
I
paper
remember that.
printed right there. That's history, and that's
little
Going
bit-
on like school trips and things.
Yes.
A little bit more labor intensive also on how the things were produced, the ads and all like that. And so there were more people working there at the time. And there was a job work there, just like we have zip printing here.
Yes.
Does a lot of stuff on the computer. We did stuff on a different press.
Yes.
Business cards and about anything else that you could imagine then. And so that was a busy place for that as well.
Oh, there you are, looking very official.
Right. Okay. Slouching and there I've got that tie on. I must have put it on just for the picture. And I never
That or Pam dressed you that day.
I have a great collection of clip-on ties. Great collection.
All right, I'm going to bring up a picture here in just a second. So this picture we're looking at, that's Pete Wilson. Okay, hold on just a second.
Okay. So James is up to something.
he was quicker
Well,
getting
we're
the
not-
chic on.
I know.
that's
I don't know what we're looking at here.
So,
I'm always afraid
when
what James is
when
going
I
to.
saw that picture, I just like, give me just a second. I'm setting myself up now.
He's setting himself
Put
up.
myself up. I put myself on the line. Where'd it go?
You'll get it
So,
done.
Pete, how long have you and Pam been married?
We got married on June the 19th, 1982. So in 3 weeks, we'll have our 40th anniversary.
And it is true because I was there.
You were.
He was right beside me, my best man,
Very good.
in spite of all the rivalries in sports.
Yes. Yes.
The parakeets
Right.
And the tramps.
and the.
Don't leave the tramps out.
Why do I not remember this? Was I not born then?
You were just a child. Just a child.
I think your mother and father knew
They
to
knew
keep you
better
away.
than to let you around that crew.
Listen, how I survived. I will
You
say,
know, like I said, we were nerds.
How-
we were nerds growing up. Pete and now think of this. In college years, Pete and I used to get up early. And one thing about Pete too, and he has Pam, thank goodness, but he had a lady named Audrey in his life who was his mother.
yes,
And she was a wonderful person.
yes.
She
And
tried
she
to protect me.
tolerated me, knowing I was, and I was probably Pete's ornery side a little bit, but
You were, well, we talked about this. You were that friend.
the two nerds
friend.
would sit in their house on South Street there and play what we used to call Sports Illustrated Baseball, which was a dice game, a historical game for baseball players, hours on hours, and keep the stats. I mean, you just think of kids that were the
Yeah,
goofy
you could
kids,
definitely nerds.
the goofy kids, yes, the nerds. But to tell you this time frame, while we were doing this, it was when David Letterman had a TV morning show.
Oh, wow.
That tells you how long ago it was.
A few years ago.
A few years ago on there.
Yes.
But no, he was very lucky to have his mother in his life. She was a special person.
yes. She tried to
And,
keep you straight as much as she could, right?
She did a pretty good job.
Okay.
All right.
So tell me this picture of like this 90s picture of Pete. Tell me he doesn't look like young Bill Gates.
Oh,
Oh God.
Wow.
Out of town, tell him that all the time.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think he's worth 17 billion. I'm 17 billion behind him. That's the difference.
There is that one thing.
That one thing, yes.
That was worth it,
I could
James.
see that.
was good.
See, it took me
That
10
was
minutes.
very
It took me
good.
10 minutes, but I got there.
You sure that
Love
wasn't Bill
that.
Gates?
I don't know, Pete. Maybe you should try to call his bank and see.
Yeah. Just walk in.
But
see if you
there's
can-
a disadvantage to being. Oh my.
I bet Bill Gates has never swept the floor like that.
Probably not.
There's a good man at the door. Red Thompson waving to him. You know, but and I don't know when this ends, but we got to give one more shout out to Randy Heath.
We do.
He's the one that
Wish
came
he
up
could
with
be
this
here
50th
today.
year. I know a little bit of a health issue
Yep.
that he wanted to be, but he's here in heart. I'll guarantee.
Oh,
He's been one
guaranteed.
of Pete's other good friends, and he was a parakeet. And we don't hold that against him, but he really took this on and wanted to make it a special article. Read your paper today. It is a special article.
It
on
is.
Pete. It's very, very nicely done.
Absolutely. Well, Red, we have a couple minutes. Do you have something you wanted to? Red's here.
Hello. Oh, hello. Okay.
He'll come on over.
I just come in. I'm not the morning person, as you know. But I wanted to come in and say congratulations to Pete. I've worked for him since 1996 when we consolidated the papers from Benton County, and it's been a long ride. And we both love the Reds, or maybe we used to love the Reds.
I know, right? Hard to love this year.
And he's taught me a lot over the years, and you know, we've done some radio. We broadcasted a couple ball games together. I got to do one of the big ones when they played Hillsborough in the districts. Unfortunately, they lost 1-0, but it's been fun over the years, and you know, you don't find a lot of people that sticks it all the way out. He's been here 50 years, and I'm sure he'll be here a good many more years. So it's been a lot of fun to. I've been here almost 30 years myself, so. And that seems like, you know, that seems like a long time, but 50 really seems like a long time. Yeah, I came here in 1994, and that just seems, other than Pete, I think I'm one of the longer ones. It stayed a long time, so I want to congratulate you. I didn't know anything about that article. That was
neither did I.
No.
Well, Red, that's because we didn't trust you
No
not to tell
offense,
Pete
Red,
about it.
but
See,
you
that's
were
how
one of
smart
the
they
few
are.
that didn't know because there
We
was a
didn't
reason for that.
They didn't tell Todd either.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Jennifer, you know, had Randy Evans, had the county commissioners here with these 2 certificates, and I said how touched I was by them that they took their time to do that and actually come on the air. Well, Red Thompson Jr. works very hard too. As he just said, he's been in the career for a long time. He works long hours too, and especially late hours. with the
Yes.
with the things he's supposed to cover. For him to be here at 9:57 a.m. in the morning,
You have no idea.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Red.
As he said, and you've heard him say it numerous times, I am not a morning person.
Now, I remember the old days when I remember there was a period there, probably 4 or 5 years, I didn't see the sun in the wintertime. I'd get home about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd go to work about 5:30, and the sun would already be down. So,
He has emerged from his coffin to
He
be on
has.
television.
Would have made a great vampire.
Right.
Well, Pete, we just can't thank you enough for all that you've done. It's wonderful to have Pam here today, and Dan and Red and all the gang. And we just want you to know how much you mean to us. I can remember being a little girl and winning something on my horse at the Ohio State Fair. And, you put it in the paper, and I just thought that was just the coolest thing ever. And it was like one of those things that encouraged me to do better and be better because, if you work really hard, you get your name in the paper. And I'm sure that there's a lot of kids over the years that have felt that way. So thank you. And thank you for everything that you do every day for all of us in the community. And I love working and seeing you every day here.
Okay, well, it's very nice, Jennifer. But it was a thrill for me to take a picture of the horse queen too. That's what keeps driving me. All these good things that are going on, and I get to be part of it and publicize it. That gives me a thrill as well. And it's always nice to share the news here on TV. A couple of days a week or however much I'm needed. I appreciate that. And you and James just do a great job with the TV, and I believe you could talk to anybody about anything, and you just proved it today.
Well, it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun being able to work with some really cool people here as well.
Right.
All right. Well, we will let you get out of here. We know that, the day of celebration is not ending. I hate to tell you that.
Okay.
So you're just in for it. So you're just going to have to suck it up and be celebrated today, Pete.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that stopped by today. We appreciate Dan and of course, I'll say, other or better half. I'm sure that that's what you would say. Pam for being here, even if she will not ever get on the camera. One of these days we're going to get her. So
you have to do a surprise attack.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
All right. Well, have a wonderful day, everyone. Stop out and see us today. Stop by the building right behind Burger King here in Jackson. Say hey to Pete if you have time, and I'm sure we would love that. He would love that. So have a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.